you're chasing price. So you're going to have to pay higher prices or get lower prices if it's going down. And so big players don't do that. They let the market push through areas like that. So you'll usually see those rejections, supports right in those areas.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Discover Crypto. Welcome to another Saturday edition of the Alpha Series here. My name is Kelly Kellum. I am part of BitLab Academy. I run BitLab Academy. We're all about bringing education, building community, giving people the tools that they need so that they can navigate this space. I'm super excited today for our guest, Mr. Christopher Inks, who has a wealth of knowledge over, I think, a couple decades at this point, and he really understands these markets and, moreover, market psychology. So without any further ado, Mr. Christopher Inks, do you feel like you ever struggle with having an attachment to an asset or wanting to let something go because, or if you have in the past, how you deal with that? Because I think that's one of the biggest issues I see in the space. They want this asset to do good because maybe it's the first one they bought, or maybe they thought they knew, but they can't cut it free. So what do we do there?
Oh yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Again, we go right back to the idea of emotion and psychology, and it's really tough. I don't think people give it the honesty that they need to in just how tough it is, right? Because I'll get out here and I'll talk, and maybe you'll get out there and you talk, and we make it sound so easy sometimes, and not that we mean to, but just that we've learned to start identifying these things in ourselves when they come up, right? So I've been doing this 1995, so what? It's 27 years, something like that. Jesus, a quarter of a freaking century. Okay, anyway, but it's still today. I can still find myself, maybe holding on to something I shouldn't for a bit longer than I should, even though I know better, even though I've been through it, millions of times in the past. But again, it all comes back to being, being just human beings. Innately, we are emotional. We're creatures of habit, things like that. And so what happens is you have to have some sort of reminder to check yourself. But even if you have that reminder, if you're not used to being honest with yourself, not just in trading, but in anywhere in life, because what you do in trading is the same thing that you'll do everywhere else in your life, whether it's work or business or, romantic relationships and stuff like that. So you have to start repeating, you have to start getting used to being honest with yourself. And you have to accept that it's okay if you're wrong. The important thing is to understand that you're wrong as quick as possible, so that way you can do what you need to do to change that. There is no quick, easy fix. You'll never, these things about emotion and don't get tied and all these things. I mean, it never goes away. Every trader will tell you it's still there. And if you have something going on in your life, something really good or really bad, near the time you're trading, it's still going to affect you. You're not a robot. You do this for 30 years. You're still not a robot. You're still going to have to pay attention to those things. So I think it definitely starts off with being honest with yourself, is the first thing, and practicing, doing these things and practicing calling yourself out and saying, okay, am I being realistic here? And one way you can do this as a trader is a trading journal. Put in a trading journal, proper trading journal. You're going to have your entry, exit. You're going to have your entry, your exit, and your stop loss. You're going to have the time when you pulled the trade, what you bought, how much of it you bought, how much you had, whatever.
How'd you feel?
That is exactly what I'm about to say. Yeah, you have to put in how you're feeling at the time. Also, I'm a big proponent of saying over the last 3 to 5 days, has anything more significantly emotional happened? Did you have a fight with your loved one? Your kids stressing you out? Is your boss, you ready to bury him 6 feet under? Put this stuff down there, because what's going to happen is when you're out of the situation and you look back on it, what you're going to notice is when you have consistent losses, it's going to be emotionally based. It's going to be that you didn't recognize that was what was going on. And
you
it caused,
chart,
you
can
caused you
chart
to take
your
the bad
trend.
trades.
You can chart your trend over time. Yeah.
And once you see it, then you can fix it. You can address it and you can fix it. But until you actually know that it's happening, until you're honest with yourself about it happening, you have no chance of fixing. You're going to keep repeating that same thing over.
Chris, you've been sharing so many great tools here. And I want to say how much I appreciate having you on. Before we go, we are coming up on time here. I know it's Saturday morning or Saturday evening, depending on where people are watching from. And I want them to get outside, hug a tree, stare at the blue sky. And if it's not blue sky, let the rain hit your skin, pet a puppy, get out of, you've done your job today. everybody
Yep.
watching, you've done your diligence and getting some education and tuning in here. Before we let them go, would you be willing to share? Somebody sits down at the trading desk, say you could look at Bitcoin or Cardano, or it doesn't matter what asset you pull up. What most basic strategy, maybe 3-4 point strategy? What are the 4 things you're looking at to determine if a trade is available? Like, are you looking at volume, RSI, stochastics? Are you looking at the moon phases? What's a basic strategy to jumpstart people and help retune them towards the winning path?
All right. Well, I'm a big price action volume trader at the end of it. That's what it is. That's nothing you learn overnight, though. It does have a lot of intricacies. I would say if you're a new trader, if you're using TradingView, if you go up to the indicators and you type in pivot points and you pull in the standard, that's this R1, P, S1, S2. I think that's one of the easiest, greatest things for traders to use, especially starting out, because it lets you know where your support and resistance is historically coming into where you are. And so if you always look left, you'll learn to look left if you stay in the market long enough, and you'll see these things start to show where you have all this consistent resistance and support. And that's all the pivots are doing. So, I would use pivots. If you get an impulsive breakout above one, you've got a chance of going to the next one. If you get an impulsive breakout, and what I mean by impulsive is you'll have like a larger candle spread compared to other candles locally, and you'll have a spike of volume with it. So, if you're getting an impulsive breakout above, the pivot, for instance, you would be looking toward the R1 pivot. If you got an impulsive breakdown through the pivot, you'd be looking at the S1 pivot. That's probably one of the easiest things you can do. The other thing you can do is this volume by price level, which is the volume that I have on the side of my screens. And where they pull back, where they don't come out, where they pull back closer to where the numbers are on your chart here, the price levels, those are called low volume nodes. And generally, what you'll have is price will hit them and reject, or coming down or reject, hitting reject, at least the first 1 or 2 times, 3 times before it breaks through. So if you see price rallying up toward or dropping down toward a low volume node, usually nothing's 100%, but more times than not, it's going to find support or resistance there, and it'll take 2 or 3 times before it pops through because the market's just not interested at that level. It's telling you
Yeah.
at that price level, there's very little market interest. So if you're going to force price through that level, you're chasing price. So you're going to have to pay higher prices or get lower prices if it's going down. And so big players don't do that. They let the market push through areas like that. So you'll usually see those rejections, supports right in those areas. They're probably the 2 biggest easiest
I,
things to look at.
I know. I think that's great because volume is one of those things that's so underutilized. And the interesting thing about volume is people think it is one data metric, and in reality, just on your chart alone, and you have your chart set up similar to the way I have mine. I have the volume across the bottom. That's one volume metric per bar, what the volume is. But then you have,
Yep.
the VRVP, or we have the BitLab volume on our BitLab trading stack, which is essentially a volume profile at each price level. Then you also have, there's probably 17 different. Then you have the volume weighted average price, and there's so many different tools for volume. And why does volume matter? Because it's showing you a metric of how interested people are at certain levels. That's what better data could you want, right? So definitely a good point there. Chris, is there any last things you wanted to say before you wrapped out, or anything you have coming up, or any special links people can find you out other than your Twitter?
We just moved to a new platform. We used to be on Discord. Now you can get us over there at members.texaswestcapital.com. We'd love to have you in there. We've got different ways of getting involved, but like you said earlier, we run a business. Yeah, we'd love for people to come, join us and learn how to trade Elliott Wave or Wyckoff or price action. But the real key at the end of the day is that they learn. I've been doing this a long time. I've talked to thousands and thousands of traders. And I wish every one of them success. I know that very few will actually do the things they have to do because it's work. It takes effort, it takes discipline, it takes focus. But man, those that actually do put in that, what that requisite there, man, you hear about them and you hear how their lives have changed, and they start enjoying the markets like I do, like you do, right? And it's a whole different way of looking at life when you do that. So, again, whether it's with us, whether it's with you, whether it's with somebody else, learn what you're doing. Be serious about it. Take it seriously, because that's the only way you're going to make it in here. But if you do, man, I promise you that just the lifestyle, the way you look at life just becomes so much better when you don't have to worry so much about bills, right? And that's what you're trying to get to.
I mean,
So
yeah,
yeah,
I couldn't have said that better myself. And any of you out there wondering where you're at on your trading journey, I can tell you firsthand, and I'm sure Chris would agree with this. If you're frustrated by price going down on any asset, then you haven't made it trading yet, because traders welcome up or down. Now,
that's right.
Key and I are frustrated with the price going down because it drives down engagement on all these media platforms where we want to talk with you
Yeah,
all. But in terms of a
yeah,
trader and an investor, I look at price going down as an opportunity because I've done the
yep,
analysis on the assets I'm investing in. So I don't mind buying at cheaper prices. And I find that when I am frustrated with price going down, it's because I'm out of position and I'm frustrated that I didn't have a better strategy. Chris, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it out with everybody. Everybody right here, you can give him a follow at TX West Capital. You can also find his information right here on his site. He's from Houston, Texas, where I'm originally from. So we're going to maybe have to link up next time I come out there. Make sure you give me a follow right here at Kelly Kellam, Kelly Kellam. And then, of course, BitLab Academy at BitLab Academy, or sorry, at Academy BitLab, I should say. My apologies. If you haven't yet, check out bitlabacademy.com. We got all the tools you need. If you're watching anywhere else, because this is clipped in various places, check out youtube.com/at BitLab Academy. Come and join us in the family. I love each and every one of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a valuable part of the community. Each and every one of you that does better in the space makes the entire space more likely to have mass adoption, because if you kill your portfolio and you lose all your money, you become a negative drain on the space, because everybody around you then thinks there's something wrong with this asset class. If you win, or if you just slowly, even if you're a slow player, you're DCAing in, you're being patient, and you have capital appreciation, you have your portfolio grow in value over time, those people in your life around you are going to be wondering, hey man, what's going on? How'd you get that new house? How'd you get that new car? You become one of the best missionaries for this space possible, and your life is better because you have more access to capital to help people and to help your loved ones. So big love to everybody. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and we will see you in the next video. Adios. Adios, muchachos.